Hey, what is up, guys? Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to join my session. I know it's Q4, everybody's rushing to launch their campaign, so thank you so much for making the time to join me today. So, my name is Arri Bagah, and I'm so happy to have you guys here because we're going to go over some really incredible marketing tactics that you're going to be able to take away and grow your e-commerce business in terms of revenue. So this session is going to be very tactical, especially towards the end. So I want you to stick around for the case studies, the screenshots, and all that cool stuff, and as well as my top 5 predictions for text messaging in 2020. So how to drive 95x return on investment by using SMS marketing. All right, so before we get started, I would like to talk to you a little bit about who I am. I grew up in a small country called Togo in West Africa. As you can see on the map here, it's that tiny country on the Atlantic Ocean there. And growing up, I was born in Togo and then moved here. And then, recently I Googled a picture of Togo, and this is the picture that came up. And I thought it was so funny because that is not a picture of me. That's the first image that came up when I Googled my country, which is interesting because in Togo there are buildings and all these like nice tall buildings, and this is what you see when you Google. So I thought that was pretty funny. So when I moved here, I was so grateful for the opportunity in this country to be able to, not only start a business, build a business, make a good amount of money. So I decided to, join the U.S. Army. This is me with an M240. So I was a machine gunner part time and also a transportation specialist, which is 80 Hotel MOS for you Army people. Full disclaimer here, this is not a picture of me, but growing up, I've always wanted to be a fighter jet pilot, but I decided to do something a lot more riskier and started my own business. So I started ConverseSmart. And at ConverseSmart, we help leading direct-to-consumer e-commerce brands generate 6 to 7 figures in revenue using SMS marketing and Facebook Messenger marketing. So we handle pretty much anything from setup to copywriting, design development, and growth strategy for the brands that we work with. And if you want to find out more, please go to conversesmart.com. And here are some of the brands that we work with, as well as some partners that we got right here. And my team has done such a great job for a lot of the brands that we work with, but I get to take all the credit. So I've had the chance to speak at some of the biggest conferences about, messenger marketing as well as text message marketing. So last year, had the chance to speak at Conversations Conference, the biggest messenger marketing conference in the world, which funny enough, this year, ConverseSmart won the top performing e-commerce agency of the year by ManyChat, which is super exciting. And then I had the chance to do all the workshops, spoke at Traffic Conversion Summit, did an exclusive mastermind with Ezra Firestone at Digital Marketer. And, these are some of the things that I'm able to do because we're able to showcase all the case studies that, my team has been able to deliver. But we're not here to talk about me today. We're here to talk about text messaging. And this is the agenda for today. So the first thing we're going to cover is the resurgence of SMS marketing, the true mobile first way of marketing. Then we're going to get into some SMS misconceptions. Do people really want to get text messages from businesses? So we're going to cover that. We're going to also cover why SMS is your next top revenue channel. So how does text messaging as a platform, well, as a channel, compared to your existing acquisition channels like Facebook, email, Instagram, all those different channels. And then we're going to get into specific, right? We're going to get super tactical, how to get started right now, what you can do to kick off your text message marketing. And then we're going to dive into some goal, some growth, and some content, which is the 3 pillars of your SMS marketing playbook. And then we're going to finish up with some case studies. But I do have a bonus. If you stick towards the end, I have a bonus for you, which is going to be the top 5 predictions in our space for 2020. So you don't want to miss that. So let's dive right in. So first thing is the resurgence of SMS marketing, right? And I'm sure that, if you take a look around, you can see that we live in a mobile first world. And there's been a massive adoption of smartphones over the past 1.5 decades, and people are online more than ever before. So consumers now can use their phones anywhere at any time, and they can pretty much do anything on their smartphones, from messaging, browsing, shopping, calling, whatever it is, you can do it on your smartphones. And I was actually listening to the CEO of Salesforce the other day. I think he was talking to the CEO of Apple, and he mentioned that he doesn't use a computer anymore. He just does everything on his he just does everything on his smartphone, which is really crazy because the cell phone is so powerful. You can pretty much do anything on it. And this is the reason why the average person spends more than 5 hours a day on our smartphones, right? Everybody, you look around, whether you are at the grocery store, at the coffee shop, at home, everybody is glued on their smartphone. And according to the Consumer Technology Association, in the world, more people own a cell phone than a toothbrush. This is really funny because more people have access to their cell phone than they have access to oral care, which is really interesting. And this is the reason why mobile is driving 67% of all U.S. e-commerce traffic. And I bet you that right now, if you were to take a look at your own traffic, mobile probably accounts for at least 50% of your traffic. And I'm being super conservative here. We have some brands that we work with where their traffic is at least 80%, comes from mobile. Another interesting thing is that Shopify just announced that if you're following Shopify on Twitter, they just this Black Friday season they crossed $1 million per minute, and 69% of all the sales came from a mobile device. Just think about that for a second. 69%, right? And when we take a look at this graph from Statista, we can see that mobile is on track to drive 53.9% of all US e-commerce sales by 2021. Now, we're all aware of this change already, right? Everybody's been talking about, going mobile first, design mobile first, whatever, right? But, I am showing you this because the way we shop has changed forever. And not only did the way we shop has changed, the way we communicate has also changed forever. And I want to show you a true mobile first way of reaching and converting your customers. But before I do that, I have a few facts here to prove the fact that the way we communicate has changed. So when you take a look at how we communicate with friends, family, and coworkers, we use messaging apps, right? And all these messaging apps are on our mobile device, and messaging is one of the primary ways that people use their mobile devices. If you look at, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, text messaging, Instagram, everything today is focused on messaging. And it's so interesting because Facebook recently announced that their primary focus over the coming years is going to be on messaging, right? So messaging is the primary way for people to communicate because it is instant, and the businesses that we interact with now have to also communicate with us through messaging, right? Because the business has to go where the consumer is, and it's not the other way around. The customer doesn't have to go where the business is, but as a business, you have to go where the customer is, and the customers are messaging. And this is the reason why 92% of Americans can be reached over text, just because um, the massive usage of smartphones and messaging. Pretty much everyone in the US can be reached over text messaging. Um, and another thing that's really interesting is that 90% of all text messages are read within 3 minutes of being received. So now we're going to get more into details about why text messaging is the new channel that you should be taking into account. So there are channels like Facebook Messenger that you can use to reach customers and have conversations. But we're going to dive specifically into text messaging today. Um, and the first thing here is that 90% of texts are read within 3 minutes of being received. According to Open Market, 83% of millennials open text messages within 90 seconds of receiving them. 75% of millennials prefer SMS communications for deliveries, promotions, and surveys. And get this one. This one is my favorite. 79% of consumers would sign up to hear from brands via text messaging. Now, if you truly believe that the whole world has gone mobile first, I'll show you the stats. People are online more than ever. People are using their smartphones more than ever. Everybody communicates through messaging, and everything is being done pretty much through mobile. And if we know all these different stats, then why are we only emailing our customers, right? And the first thing that I hear people tell me is that, Ari, I would never let any business text my phone. Therefore, everybody else in this world is the same way, right? Everyone hates receiving text from brands, and that's just how it is. And this can be further from the truth. Now, I wanted to go a little bit deeper into something that is really important, right? And I feel like a lot of marketers make this mistake. I would often hear marketers say, "Oh, I don't use, uh, you know, automatic payments or whatever feature it is," right? And then they automatically assume that their customers do not. For example, I rarely buy things on my mobile device. I always shop on my desktop, but I'm not here saying that, everybody, nobody shops on their mobile device. Everybody shops on desktop just like me. So this is like a really big mistake that I see marketers making. And this is one of the primary reasons why they're sleeping on text messaging. And that is because they think because they're not using that platform to communicate with businesses, that means that everybody is not using that platform to communicate with their customers. And this can't be further from the truth. This is based off of no data and nothing but assumptions. The truth is that your customers want to hear from you if you send them great content. Everything right now is all about content. You have to work on your content. The reason why you probably think that customers would want to hear from you is that you think of SMS marketing as being something spammy that your customers wouldn't want to receive. But if you focus on sending relevant content, sending the right message to the right customer at the right time, then your customers are going to be happy that you're reaching out. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. And I have some facts here to really drive this point home, right? One of our partners, Attentive, did this survey here and found out that 79% of consumers would sign up to hear from brands via text messaging. Over 62.7% of consumers says that they've already signed up through text messaging. They're already receiving text messaging. 16% of consumers say that they've signed up, but they're not receiving yet. And this is really important because a lot of brands are collecting, emails, phone numbers, but they're not messaging their list. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about this in a bit. 18.3% said that, maybe they might be interested in receiving messages if they get the right messages. And then 3% said that they're not interested at all in receiving messages. So as I can see here, your consumers want to hear from you. So do not be afraid. Do not be that marketer that says, hey, I personally wouldn't want to receive a text. So, just like that, everybody is the same way. Don't be that marketer. We have the data here proving you that your customers want to hear from you over text messaging. Now, check this out. So if you think about this for a second, earlier we discussed how, the majority of your traffic is coming from your mobile device, right? Let's say you get, 50, 60, 70, 80% of your traffic coming from your mobile device. That means 80 people out of 100 that come to your website are already on their mobile device. And most brands are offering their customers like a discount when that customer comes to site, right? We see all these 10% off pop-ups, $5 off pop-up, 15% off pop-up, right? On first load. So a customer lands on your site, they're on their mobile device, and you show them a pop-up for 10%. Do you think it makes sense to show them a pop-up where they can opt in to receive the coupon through text? Or does it make sense to send it through email? Let me say this again. The customer is already on their mobile device and you want to offer them a 10% discount. Does it make sense to send it directly to them through their cell phone, which they're already on? Or does it make sense to send it through email where they're going to have to, get off their website, log into their email, or go into Gmail, whatever, and open your email. They probably have to search through their inbox because they get so many emails. The average person gets about 98 emails per day. It's probably more now. They have to search through and get that email, get that discount. And obviously it makes more sense to send it to that customer through text where they're already on their mobile device. They opt in through text. They get that coupon right away. Takes them less than 5 seconds to go through that process, and they're right back on site to continue their purchasing, right? So this is really, really important, right? We get super high opt-in rates when we use SMS opt-ins, compared to email. And that is because the experience makes it it's so much easier for that customer to just opt in through their mobile device. Now, one question I get all the time is that, okay, we get it. The customers want to receive the text. We get it that we should do the opt-ins for SMS, but what should we send the customers, right? And that's a really good question because there are certain types of content that your customers do want to receive. And we have this data right here. This data provided by Attentive again. 96% of your customers want to receive, product updates. So if their product has shipped, the product has been delivered. We work with some brands who have problems with this, where their customers always ask, hey, where's my order? Did my order go through? And the problem here is that is not the fact that they're not sending the order notification, but the problem is that the order notifications are going through email. And as you know, people have, 6,000 to 10,000 unread emails, and they do not get that order notification. So they have to email the brand and have pointless conversations that just consume time for the customer service team where that information should be just sent directly to that customer through text. And this is going to reduce so many customer service tickets, and save you so much money in the long run, right? Because you don't have to hire more people for customer service and things like that. So customers want to get those notifications through text. Customers also want to be notified when you have products on sale, and this works really, really well, especially when we talk about broadcasting, which we're going to get into. When you have your sales, send it directly to your customer, right? Because you're going to get it directly. And I'm going to go over some of those stats. They also want to get back in stock notification. This is really key, right? The customer wants to buy a product that is out of stock, and that customer is more likely to convert more than anyone. So the best way is that when that product is back, just text it to the customer and they'll be able to get it. And we have a bunch of other stats showing what type of messages they want to receive. And sending these messages is the reason why some of our brands that we're working with are achieving amazing results. We're seeing over 80% open rates. I'm being super conservative with these numbers here. The average open rate we see is about 95 to 99%. More than 30% click-through rates, 9% conversion rates, and this should say 95x. And on average, we see about 95x return on the cost that we send on to send the messages. So at this point, it's no secret that text messaging could be your next top revenue channel. And when we compare it to a channel like email, we can see that the difference is night and day, right? According to MailChimp, the average open rates over email is 20%. And that's if you're doing really, really good. And a lot of people aren't that good at email marketing. And this is a whole nother topic that I don't want to get into right now, because if you look in your inbox right now, you're going to see that brands are sending you the same emails over and over 2 times, 3 times a day without any sort of segmentation or any sort of like good content. But some not to throw shade on any other brand, but this is just like the industry right now. I've done my research on this, but average 20% if you're good. The average click-through rate, it's about 5% or less. On average, brands see like 1 to 3%, but 5% if you're good. And then the average website conversion rate is less than 4%, right? Now, I'm not saying that you should stop doing email marketing. Email marketing still works great. Billions of dollars generated each year through email marketing. But the reason why email marketing, has dropped in value is because you're not able to build a relationship with your customers, reach them directly, and convert them. And that is because email has gotten so spammy, over the past couple of years. Performance has dropped 47% in the past 5 years alone in email marketing. Now, one thing that comes up every single time that I say this is that, text messaging is going to become the same way. The open rates, the click-through rates, and conversion rates are going to drop once everybody starts to do text messaging. But if you look at messenger marketing, and the reason why I want to compare this and make my point is that messenger marketing is a way to reach your customer through a personal channel, right? A personal inbox. And it's been about 3 to 4 years now since messenger marketing has been around, and click-through rates are still that high. People are still averaging 95% open rates, 20 to 30% click-through rates. And that is because the average person is not going to subscribe to more than maybe 5 to 10 brands through their personal inbox. Right now, it's super easy for people to just subscribe to whatever they want through email, because they know they're probably not going to get it, or they're probably not going to open it. But on a channel that you use to chat with friends, with family, you're not going to subscribe to a bunch of brands just to receive a discount. So people are going to limit who they subscribe to just because it is a channel that they communicate with friends and family on, and they're not going to subscribe to like 20 brands and get like 10 texts in a single day and just like over time reduce the click-through rates or open rates. But I know that open rates are going to drop, but it's not going to be that low like email marketing. It is going to drop, but it's going to be because users are going to be more aware with the fact that they can opt in through text, and that brands are going to be able to reach out to them on those channels. So once that awareness hits the market, the open rates are going to drop a little bit, but it's not going to be that low, like 10% open rates, 20% click-through rates. So the new way of marketers, for marketers to reach their customers, build relationships, and drive sales is by reaching them directly and where they are, which is on their smartphone. Now, we've went through a lot of, you know, just strategy and just like statistics about why you should think about adopting this channel. So now I think it's really important to get into how to get started, right? If you're wondering, how do I get started? What are the different ways? What are the action steps for me to succeed with SMS marketing? Let's dive right in. The first thing is that, to succeed with text messaging, you need 3 simple steps. And the first step is that you have to define your goal. What are your KPIs? How do you measure success? This is really important. The next thing is that you have to grow a list. This is so important because I have a lot of people that would come up to me and say, hey, I've been doing this, whether it's messenger marketing or text message marketing, I've been doing this, but I'm not getting the results. And I'm like, okay, how many people do you have on your list? And then they say, I have like, 300 or 500 people. You can't do that much with 300 to 500 people on your list. You have to actually, grow a massive list. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. And the last thing is that you have to engage. This is also just as important as growing a list. When you grow your list, you have to text the people. You're not going to make as much revenue if you're not sending people the text. You have to engage with the customer. And another mistake that most brands make is that they'll build a list, wait like 3 months, send a text, and then wonder why their results have dropped. Well, the customers have not heard from you in 3 months. When they get that text, they probably forgot about who you are, and they're most likely going to unsubscribe. So it's really important that you keep texting the customer, even if it's not like a sale, even if it's just regular content. Just stay top of mind by engaging with those customers. This is really important, just as important as growing your list. You have to engage with the customers. Defining your goal. So the 4 things that you could optimize for. The first thing is subscriber growth. Are you looking to build a massive list of potential customers to nurture and convert over time? Engagement rate. Are you looking to increase broadcast open rates and click-through rates? We talked about how we're getting 90% plus open rates, 20 to 30% click-through rates over text. Revenue generated. Are you looking to optimize the bottom of the funnel traffic to retarget visitors using text messaging? And last thing is return on investment, right? Looking at how text messaging compares to your other marketing channels. Now, this 4th one, return on investment, gets me really excited because we've been able to help brands in span of 2 to 3 months take text messaging from 0 to accounting for 14 to 25% of their revenue, which is extremely high. And one thing that people would say is that, okay, that's probably taking revenue from email. And here's the funny part, like we have not seen revenue drop during that period of taking SMS from 0 to like 14 or 20% of the revenue. Actually, revenue has increased over email when we add in text messaging, because when we reach customers over text, they end up like purchasing through other channels. And then the second thing is that, with text messaging accounting for such a high percentage of your revenue, we focus on incremental revenue, right? Is this new revenue that we're driving, right? It's not trying to steal revenue or attribution from other channels. So this is really, really important here. The next thing is growing your list. We have 4 different ways that you can grow your list right now. You can have a standalone SMS pop-up on your mobile, and this is the best way to acquire visitors through mobile. You have your standalone SMS desktop pop-up. I'm going to show you exactly what these look like. You have your website slide-ins, slide-ups, whatever you want to call them, and then you can collect subscribers from your landing pages. So the first thing is the standalone SMS pop-up, right? And this is exactly what it looks like. And the interesting thing is that this standalone pop-up, uh, allows users to subscribe by clicking the get 25% off discount. This is a campaign that we recently ran for one of our clients for Black Friday. And basically, a user clicks on that button and they're able to subscribe by sending a text. So they don't have to type in their phone number on their mobile device. They click through that. All they have to, it opens up their messaging app. All they have to do is send a text to opt in. It's called 2Tap. So 2Tap offers a really great experience on mobile devices for people to opt in. And the reason why this is great is that we all know how customers are. If you give them that 10%, 25% discount, everybody is going to be wanting to put in a fake number just to get the discount. So this solves that problem where the customers are going to give you the right number every single time. Now, a standalone SMS pop-up on desktop. So this is something that one of our clients actually recently launched. And as you can see on desktop, they have to type in their phone number. So they put in their phone number and they're able to opt in directly through text. This is also another great way to get users to opt in. Actually, I wanted to go back here for a second because this one gets me really excited because the reason why brands end up moving text messaging to desktop is because they realize that once they launch text messaging on mobile, which we always do for our clients, for every single client, we always launch on mobile first. And then they see that, okay, text messaging is performing really, really well, right? I'm sending a text to this amount of subscribers and I'm getting 4 times more revenue compared to like sending email to like even more to thousands of subscribers. And actually one of our clients recently put us to the test. We started working together and they're like, okay, Arri, we don't know if this is incremental revenue or not. So let's do a test. We're going to test text messaging versus email marketing, right? So one of the things that we did is we had 8,700 subscribers on text, 8,700 subscribers over email. We sent pretty much the same content. And then after 24 hours, we realized that, text generated about, I think it was about $3,200 in revenue, and email generated $200.61 in revenue, right? And this is a massive difference. And then after like a week or so, text ended up generating about 6,600 in revenue, and email marketing generated about $698. And this is a huge difference, right? Because, like I said, our brands are always looking to only generate incremental revenue, which is something that we work towards. Everything that we want to do, we want to make sure it is incremental revenue. And then we're also able to prove that, text messaging works. And we compared head to head, text messaging versus email. And I would take anyone on this challenge, anyone that wants to challenge me for their brand, that wants to do a text messaging versus email campaign. I'll do it any day because I know our text messaging is going to always outperform their email marketing. Next one is the website pills and slide-ins. So you can have a slide-in, and this is a pop-up by one of our partners, Postscript. If you're on Shopify, Postscript is one of the best platforms to use. You can easily integrate. If you're not on Shopify, shoot me an email, and I'm going to have that information at the end here. But if you want to set up one of these pop-ups, you can do it through PostScript. And if you go to postscript.io/ConverseSmart, you get free 1,000 credits that allow you to send 1,000 text messages for free. And this is specifically from ConverseSmart. I'm giving this gift to you. This is a bonus gift for sticking around this long. If you go to postscript.io/ConverseSmart, you get free 1,000 credits. You connect to your Shopify store, you get to send 1,000 text messages for free. Anyway, next thing is engaging with your list. And this one is really, really important. And there are multiple ways for you to be able to engage with your list, right? From the welcome message to abandoned cart recovery to follow-ups to order updates, promotional broadcasts. There are multiple ways to engage with your list, from pre-purchase all the way to post-purchase. Now, I wanted to talk about something that I think is really important, because I think if you're able to understand this, you can dominate in any messaging channel that you decide to tackle, right? So when we started out doing Facebook Messenger marketing, this was the same idea. And then we got into text messaging, and it's still the same idea. How can we send the right message to the right customer at the right time? And this is where the customer journey retargeting comes in. Being able to see where the customer is, to see what type of action they're taking, and being able to send them a notification if they drop off in the customer journey. So let's say a customer comes to your website, they opt in and they get that first welcome message, right? They get that welcome message, and maybe they start to browse the website and they leave. They get a browse abandonment series, right? Say, hey, we saw you're looking at these products. Did you find what you're looking for? Are these some of the products you're interested in? And let's say you get them to come back and they add a product to cart and they leave again. You send them an abandoned cart recovery message or a series of messages to try to get them back. And let's say like that customer ends up making a purchase. You say, hey, thank you for your purchase. And then you can offer them a coupon for their next order. Hey, thank you for making a purchase. You're 70% off as a thank you for being a customer. And then last thing is that, the order gets delivered, and then you can upsell them, right? You can say, hey, thanks for being a customer. Your order is delivered. Here's other products from the collection that we think you might like. And this is what text messaging is about, sending the right message to the right customer at the right time. And in order to do that, you need to be able to take into account the customer journey. And the last thing is that, once they go through the journey or throughout the journey, you're going to have some broadcasting, right? If you have new offers, new promotions, you're going to be able to reach that customer with those offers to try to convert them. And I want to show some examples here because one of the things that we focus at ConverseSmart is being creative, right? How can we engage that customer on a channel like text messaging? A lot of people think that, text messaging is all about, sending just plain text. It's super boring, just like super salesy, right? We take a completely different approach. We're not always focused on the sales. We are focused on how can we engage that customer with the content that we think is going to take them a little bit closer to making that purchase. And as you can see right here, all these gifts are custom gifts that my team designs, and we have a team of amazing designers that do an amazing job at creating these designs that convert really, really well. And these are different ways that you can leverage in your text messaging to keep the customer's attention a lot longer. So if a customer gets a text, that, they're probably going to read the text, right? They read the text and they're able to click. But if you add on a GIF or an image, you're able to keep their attention a lot longer. And if you sell a product that might require people to see exactly what the product is in order to make their decision, for example, sunglasses, people probably want to see like, okay, this is a pair I might be interested in. So we send those GIFs and they help us sometimes double our conversion rate. So we always do a split test for our clients and see, okay, is it just sending a text that is going to convert better, or should I add a GIF to the text to increase my conversion rate? So we always do that split test, and most often than not, we found that GIF convert much better obviously because they're able to keep the users in attention for a little bit longer, and they're able to engage that user, and the content doesn't seem as spammy. And that is because we also focus on branding the gifts. So all these gifts are made completely from scratch by my team. And as you can see, it's a great way to engage that user. Another thing that I wanted to talk about is cadence, right? How do you know, how many messages you should send to a user, right? One of the things that we found is that we like to test the cadence. So first we want to say, okay, let's send at least 2 messages this week and see how your customers respond. We also like to take a look at unsubscribe rates. And the cool thing that my team has found through sending, you know, hundreds of thousands, millions of text messages is that when you focus on creating content that your customer is going to find relevant, adding gifts that your customers are going to be able to engage with, we see super low unsubscribe rates. I was talking to one of these brands before we started working together. Their unsubscribe rate was super high. It was at 7% or something like that. And I was like, whoa, like we need to do something about it. And we took over and was able to bring the unsubscribe rate to less than 2 to 3%. So that's another point that I wanted to make. You have to know, you know, how what's the right cadence, you know, right? How can I engage a user? Should I make images, gifs? What type of content do you want to send? You know, I'm totally against spamming people. I'm totally against sending promotional messages all the time. You know, I see this with some brands. I don't want to call anyone out, but Fashion Nova is another example. They send you like 2 to 3 text messages a day, and it's all like, hey, discount ending soon. The discount never ends. And it's like a few hours left. Same thing over and over again. I'm totally against that. I'm all about engaging the user. It's not always about offering a discount code, but I'm all about engaging that user with content that they're going to find relevant. And that's the key here. How can you reach the right customer at the right time with the right message? And if the right message is not always going to be like a discount. And this is exactly how, you know, we're helping our brands generate tons of revenue. And, you know, in a few minutes here, I'm going to go over the top trends for 2020 for text messaging, and you have to stick around for that. But one of our clients here, you know, $238,000 in the last 30 days alone. And every client that we work with, our goal is to make them at least 100,000, you know, at least 6 figures to 7 figures a month in incremental revenue through text messaging. And I know this is a huge claim. A lot of clients do not believe us before they start working with us. And then we start working together and it's like, oh, you know, text messaging is accounting for this super high percentage of our revenue. Let's try to figure out different ways to build a text list and be able to reach more customers and generate more revenue. That always happens. So every single person that we work with, it's really important for us. We want to generate a lot of revenue for them. And everything that we do is always revenue focused, right? We work on multiple brands. We see, you know, what type of text messages should we send, right? What's the right cadence? You know, what's the right gifts? We've sent so many gifts. This team has designed so many gifts. We know exactly what works. And every single client that we work with, it's always the same thing. So this is just an example here from one of our clients who's doing exactly what I showed you here today, and is doing $238,000 in incremental revenue through text messaging alone. So right now, this is accounting for about, I think it was about 14% of their revenue, just because we had a huge spike in sales for the Black Friday season. So the revenue from other channels went up. But before Black Friday, this was accounting for 17% of their revenue. And, you know, I'm super excited about text messaging. And my goal is to make for this specific client, text messaging be accountable for, you know, 20 to 25% of their revenue. You know, every brand that we work with, you want to make sure that, you know, we're driving as much revenue as we can. So this is almost the end, but before you guys leave, I know we're going to go over the top predictions for 2020, but if you're interested in working with us, please go to conversesmart.com. to request a free consultation. Or if you have a question, always shoot me an email, reb@convertsmart.com. I always check my emails. I check my email every like 10 seconds, so I'll be able to get back to you in no time. And one thing that I want to mention is that, do not be scared to get into text messaging. And one of the things that we do for brands that are interested in text messaging is do an estimate. We want to show you how much revenue can we generate in the next 12 months with text messaging. And this has been us aggregating tons of data from other clients that we've worked with. We've been able to see, okay, what's the average revenue based on their traffic, their average order value, and also their conversion rate. And based on that, we're able to create accurate estimates and show you, okay, before you start working with us, this is the revenue potential, right? My thing is that, I don't want to waste anyone's time. If the channels are not right for you, if you don't have enough traffic, I want to let you know upfront and, let you make that decision. But for the most brands that we want to work with, they reach out to us, they go to ConvertSmart, they fill out that form, and we say, okay, we chat for them a little bit, make sure they're right fit, find out what their goals are, and we put together this text messaging strategy for them. And then we also include, okay, in the next 12 months, this is how much revenue you're going to be able to generate, right? And usually we hit, we surpass that revenue mark. So this is one thing that we do. So if you're interested in that too, please reach out, go to convertsmart.com and fill out that form. And now we get into my predictions for 2020. So I think that in 2020, first prediction, it's going to be the year of SMS. Brands have been aware of text messaging as a new channel opportunity. And I think in 2020, we're going to see a lot more brands adopting this channel. So what does that mean? That means that you should get into it right now. Your competitors are going to get into text messaging, which is going to be harder for you to be able to be the first brands to be able to take advantage of the channel. And if you remember earlier, I mentioned that consumers are not going to subscribe to more than 5 brands or so through text. So if you want to be the first to get your potential customers to subscribe, you want to get into it now, because next year text messaging is going to be booming. A lot more brands are going to get in, and it's going to be getting a little bit harder for everybody else. Second thing is that brands are going to be focusing on audience building. We've all seen over the past year, cost per acquisition, cost per impressions has been doubling every single time. So cost for paid advertising is going up because all these big brands are dumping a lot of money into paid ads. We all know that it's all about supply and demand. It's all about supply and demand. So, when the demand goes up, the pie, and supply remains the same, the cost has to go up. And this is exactly what is happening with Facebook ads, Instagram, whatever channel it is, paid ads. More and more big brands are dumping a lot more money into it. So the cost is going up for everybody. So a lot more brands are going to be focused on building their list. This is the perfect time for you to start building your text list. You're going to be able to reach those customers through text messaging and you convert more of those customers. You're going to be able to build your email list. You're going to be able to leverage your email list to grow your text messaging list, which is another strategy that we didn't have time to get into, but it's a great way to kick off your text messaging list. So more brands next year are going to be focused on building their lists, which is going to be a great way for brands to have these assets that they can reach out to without paid traffic, because the cost for paid traffic has been just like going through the roof. Third thing is going to be all about multi-channel communication. So as more brands get into text messaging, more brands have gotten into messenger marketing. So it's going to be about how can you reach more customers on more channel. It's not about email anymore. The performance on email has dropped 47% over the past 5 years alone. How can you leverage other channels like Facebook Messenger or text messaging and be able to reach your customer on a channel that they prefer to communicate with you on? So that's another trend that I'm seeing. The fourth trend is going to be brands will be focused on more channels on top of Facebook and Instagram. So the cost has been going up. On top of audience building, you want to explore other channels, right? And, what are other channels that, brands want to do? We're seeing a lot more brands starting to get into TV now. A lot of, especially the super successful brands. I run a conference called DTC Day. It's a conference all about bringing the best brands on stage. We have 25 speakers. We're actually working on our next conference right now, which is going to be in New York City in May 14, 2020. And a lot of our brands, making, hundreds of $1 million per year are starting to get into TV because they've maxed out how much they can spend on Facebook. So that's another thing that I'm seeing, a lot of direct to consumer brands starting to branch out into traditional channels, which is super exciting. Last thing is WhatsApp e-commerce. So WhatsApp was open for business for, I think a little over a year now. And, it's been closed beta, so not everybody has access to it. But, I think it's going to be more um, open to bigger brands to be able to leverage that channel for promotions. You can send like a blast to your customer, just like on Facebook Messenger. So WhatsApp, I'm predicting, is going to be able to allow more brands to be able to do some sort of e-commerce targeting. I know you can do the e-commerce targeting through WhatsApp on Facebook, through Facebook ads now, but I think more brands are going to be able to leverage it just like Messenger for their e-commerce marketing. So these are my top predictions for 2020. And like I said, get that free demo, get that free estimates on the website, conversmart.com. But I want to thank you so much for spending the time with me. Again, my name is Arri Bagah, and I want to thank you so much for taking the time. And yeah, signing off here. Thank you.